meeting of Tuesday, September 16th. Welcome to our guests here. You got it. Thank you. Welcome to our guests here and also watching on the cable channel. Could I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Finkler. Here. Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Reed. Here. Rilke. Here. Rostad.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. I would, at this time, look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move. Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rostad, second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then next would be department reports for file. The Columbus area EMS for June, July, and August of 2025. Fire for July and August of 2025. Library for August of 2025. And police for August of 2025. Next would be public comment. Is there anything? Okay, we have one person. Ruth Hermanson, here to speak on behalf of CHLPC. And the mic is on.
The mic is on. All right.
Yep.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm reporting about CHLPC and about the Rest Haven project that we're currently raising funds for. And just to kind of keep you abreast of what's happening, funds are coming in. I believe we have around 138,000 so far. It's quite a bit of distance from what we're going to need for the handicap accessible bathrooms, things like that. We've talked with some of the city folks here, and we're going to start with our front door. Brian has some pictures, and if you look closely, you can see daylight through them. The front door actually padlocks at the top, and it can blow apart in heavy winds. And so it's kind of an obstacle getting into the building to get it unlocked. And the same key does work for around the corner, but the padlock is up high. There's splits in the wood. It's rattles. You know, it's just not safe at all. And so the cost of that is well within our budget. We're going to have a CHLPC Rest Haven meeting, and then we'll have more news after that. But we just wanted to let you know we're going to get something done, and that will hopefully promote other things happening and more funds coming in. And as some of you know, especially Joe, there's some screens that we could potentially put on at least two of the windows that they would we'd have cross ventilation at our last meeting there. And Joe can attest that when the Knights of Columbus are there, things like that, birds do fly in. So it would be nice to get the breeze and be able to close at least or screen two windows to get the cross ventilation. So that's just a little bit where we're at. We'd also like the City Council to consider possibly partnering with us a little more. We don't have the huge donors that we're looking for, and we were very successful with the pavilion raising over $625,000 and getting that project done. And we would appreciate anything in either next year's budget or the following, anything that you can spare towards the Rest Haven renovation of the bathrooms, different items there. We'd certainly appreciate it. Okay, any questions?
Any questions for Ruth?
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, Ruth. And Brian. Okay, then next on the agenda would be to approve tonight's consent agenda, and that is the Committee of the Whole, Council minutes, and the Council workshop minutes of September 2nd of 2025. Also approval of the temporary Class B wine and Class B beer alcohol license for the Columbus Chamber of Commerce 2025 Wine Walk, which is to be held October 18th of 2025. And then approval of the street closing application for the Columbus Fire Department's open house on October 14th or October 4th of 2025.
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rossed, second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, then next on the agenda is consider and take action on ordinance 810-25, an ordinance to repeal and recreate certain provisions of section 86-191 of the City Code of Ordinances concerning requirements for driveways. At this time, I would look for a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Meyer to suspend the rules. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next would be to waive the readings, and we'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to waive the readings.
Second.
Motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Finkler to waive the readings. Then next would be to take action on ordinance 810-25.
Vote. Could we have a vote,
Oh, we
please,
got to
Joe?
have a vote on the waiving, yes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm on a roll, sorry. Then next would be to take action on ordinance 810-25.
I will move to approve ordinance 810-25.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rolke. Any discussion on this? Alder Lawson?
Do we know what happened to the question about the circular drive,
Yeah.
two openings?
So a circular driveway, whether it is all fronted on one street or fronted on a corner lot from two streets, would be considered one driveway from a legal standpoint. They would also have the ability to go through the waiver process at Plan Commission if there was a concern.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, any other? Alder Rossed?
Section 2, I thought we asked to have or designee added.
I may have missed that, but I think that is, you can add that in with your motion or can direct staff to make that change pending approval as well.
So I will amend my motion. I will make a motion to approve ordinance 810-25 with the add of or designee in section 2.
Second.
Okay, amended motion by Alder Myers and seconded by Alder Rolke. Any further? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, then next would be to consider and take action on the agreement between the City of Columbus and Rupert Melke regarding public safety facility proposal. Matt, you want to?
Yeah, I'm going to introduce Jason Letha with Rupert Milke, who I think everyone here knows. Also with him is Rob Decker from Axiom, and I'll let Jason introduce Rob.
All right, thanks for having us tonight. Yeah, I just want to spend an hour or so talking about this agreement. I'm a big talker. Rob likes to talk, so just kidding. No, just I want to spend a few minutes just kind of going over a few things here just to hopefully answer some questions before you have them, and I'm sure you guys have some questions. Rob is with our Axiom group. So I just wanted everybody to kind of understand Axiom and Rupert Milke's relationship. So Rupert Milke is the parent company of Axiom. We acquired them about a year ago. What they did was they brought a geographical expansion to us, and they also brought a service expansion to us. So Axiom does many of the same things Rupert Milke does in the Iowa market, but what they also bring to us is a building service group. So they do MEP, IT, those type of services for that. We are not an architect. Axiom is just the building services group. They also do a lot of construction-related building assessments, construction management services. So they're kind of unique in their company. When we acquired them, we picked them up. What they do is they partner with a lot of architects, but instead of the architects hiring them, they lead the projects and they hire the architects. So the architect that we're proposing for this agreement is OPN. They're a known architect that has a lot of experience in this market, and they're in the Madison area. So they're also in the Iowa area, and they have some experience working with Axiom, and they've had that relationship already. So we felt like bringing that team to the table already had that kind of continuity that you're looking for in a team. We will control that contract, so ultimately you see the contract is via Rupert Milkie, but it's referring to Axiom because they'll be kind of leading the effort out of that office, but we are the parent company. So, and the last thing I just wanted to add here before I kind of introduce and turn it over to Rob to kind of cover a little bit of our approach and a few things in the contract was that I will ultimately be executing the contract on behalf of Rupert Milkie. I did look through Paul Johnson's comments from the city attorney perspective, and his comments are acceptable to us. I mean, we can certainly modify. I assume you guys might have some comments or revisions if you're supporting of the contract that we'll also incorporate. I know I talked to Rob about a couple clarification things on the scope that we've talked about providing to the city that we want to make sure we work into that as well. So that's where I want to kind of turn it over to Rob now and just kind of let him cover some highlights of the contract. Talk a little bit about team configuration, next steps, as we kind of plan to move this forward if it's favorable tonight, and what that will be from Rob's perspective and his experience. So, Rob?
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to keep this to 10 minutes, not an hour, so appreciate you having us. As Jason said, my name is Rob Decker. I'm the building services manager for Axiom. Axiom is Rupert Milkie. I'm a Rupert Milkie employee. We just have a different name. So we work together every day, have for the past couple of years already. So as Jason said, OPN is our partner. They have an office of 20 folks in Madison, Wisconsin, but they are also with us down at our Iowa location, so we work with them a lot. They're really, really good architect, do a lot of work for the city of Madison, school districts, some other folks, so really, really experienced and a very good partner of ours. I've been doing this since 1999, which makes me feel really old, building services and managing projects, managing construction. Like Jason said, we're engineers, so our group is engineers. My group is structural, civil, mechanical, electrical. It's all the things you'd need to do this building that we're standing in. So we provide an all-in-one solution other than we need an architect, but we like to be in charge. We like to be in charge because we like the way that we run projects. And it's a little bit different than when an architect does it. Nothing wrong with the way that architects do it. We like working with them, but I think we have a really unique approach. So we really like that. In terms of this, I'm going to keep it real short because I want to make sure that I have time to answer any of your questions that you guys may have. But I like that you guys have kind of set aside a budget, that you know what you want to, what you kind of anticipate the project being. And we're very conscientious of that budget. We want to be good stewards of that all the way through. Not all projects have that. Sometimes you just start with a blank slate and sort of go, and then you sort of find out what something costs when you're finished with it. And we can sort of work within that budget from the get-go, which is good. So our team would be me and Jason mainly. We would have a project coordinator that would work with me on a day-to-day basis, but I would be the project executive and oversee the project. Jason would be here on a not day-to-day basis, but on a frequent basis. He knows the town better than anybody, and serves as the city engineer, so he's a good backdrop for everything. I'll get to this in just a second.
No trips to Florida.
What's that? Yeah.
I told him to say that. No,
Till 6/1.
I'm kind of jumping the shark with this one, but for the city, I'll kind of, your questions might be, what are our next steps, right? And one of the first things I would say would be to develop a stakeholder group, right? With a public effort like this, or whenever you're doing a school or you're doing a nonprofit or something, there's a lot of folks, and there's a lot of folks that want to be involved, and it makes sense here. But also, to make the project efficient, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. So there's a right time to engage with the public. We would do that with some public input sessions. We would follow your input. and your insight on how often you want to do those. I wouldn't do a ton of them, but I would definitely make the public feel involved and like they had their shot at the job. But what we'd want to do is establish a small stakeholder group. And I think that if you want to ask who I think that should be, and Jason and I talked about that, we would think that obviously Matt would be on it, the fire and police chief, we're volunteering you guys, but I think you'd want to be a large part of it. And then Dwayne from DPW and Dalton from utilities. That group of 5 feels like a right-sized group, but obviously we'd be totally open to that. But that was kind of what we were thinking. Big things that we would do for a number of months is program the building. And a couple of the steps that we want to do in that is get all of you to potentially visit a couple of like-minded facilities. You guys probably know what those might be a lot better than I would. But going and getting some ideas, some brainstorming ideas from other facilities and jotting down your notes is a really good idea. But then we'd work with you for a few months to program the building. And what I mean by programming is, let's just call it a glorified floor plan. It's more than that, but we're doing this for the village of Fontana right now. This very, very similar thing with a public safety building, and the fire and the police chief there know me probably better than they ever wanted to, and we're doing that exact thing. We just did a study for them to figure out the site, figure out the building size that they need, and we're going through that exact thing, figuring out what they need for a training room, how many offices they need, all of that good stuff, right? So we would work for a number of months to get that all before we even start engineering or designing any of it. That's the key. So that's going to be the big first step that we take. And then after we kind of coalesce around something, or maybe a couple options, I would then suggest that maybe we do a public input session. So then we can kind of say, this is what our team has settled around, or similar, something similar, and let them put in their 2 cents. We've done them before. We have a couple options, and it can be as simple as giving them a couple different colored Post-it notes for ideas for, it's basically like, dislike, don't care, and you kind of let them vote on the project in that way. And we've done that a number of times. One of the things we really like to do, and I'm not going to put any of you on the spot and say, I hope you read this massive contractual document, but one of the things we like to do, and one of the ways we differentiate ourselves, is we do a set fee. And we won't increase our set fee because we make decisions about, what this is going to look like, and it's more expensive, and that doesn't really take us any additional time to design. But what we will do is we'll reduce our fee if the cost of the building reduces. So we've got some of that language in there. I came up with that for what I felt was a can result in a significant savings for the city if the building costs less. If it costs more, I don't anticipate that happening, but you never know. It's construction. I don't know if any of you work in construction. It can be a little bit of a mixed bag, but I like the fact that you have that budget, and I like the fact that we'll go through this in a way where we're going to do some opinions of cost throughout the process to make sure we're kind of checking in on what the budget of it is as we design it. So the last piece that I would say, and then I'll shut up if you have any questions, is we do a lot of things that are sort of integrated into our process that we don't charge a lot more. And I worked for a city for 13 years as a project manager and inspector. I did a lot of public works jobs, so I come out of the public background, and I like that in the way that we do things, because I feel like we come at things with a little bit of a public bent to what we do, and I feel like it informs what we do really well. But some of the things we really do, and that I like to do, we don't have to do any of them, but one of the things I really like doing is setting up a website that's dedicated to our project. We put a blog on it. I know blog sounds funny these days because blogs used to be a really big thing like 10 or 15 years ago, but we like to do a blog, and we like to have the project manager do updates on it. You can subscribe to it. The public can subscribe to it, and it gives them email updates. If we put a picture on there, or we talk about what we're doing or what have you, and that has been super, super popular. The public, it makes them feel engaged. It lets us do outreach to them. It keeps calls off of your guys' desks. We can post pictures on there, drone imagery, all kinds of stuff. Drone imagery is another thing we just do. We'll do that through construction, but we can also do it early on as we'll fly the site when it's being constructed, we'll fly the site, we'll do progress videos, we'll do progress photos on there. We like to have them, they're cool, but they're also easy to put on the website, and it gets you guys really good information out to the public. So that's another thing we do. You guys have existing facilities, obviously. And we would like, I know that you have an interest in studying, like, what do we do with those facilities? Do we level them? Do we repurpose them? Do we sell them off? And we would like to be engaged with that too. It's not directly related to what the new one will do, but it's kind of adjacent. And I think we can do some really good study for you to figure out, while we're doing this other one, help you out with what you do with the existing one too. Jason obviously has really intimate knowledge of that, so I feel like we can provide you with some really nice information. Maybe we write it up in a little formal report, but however we want to do that, right? And then the last thing I would say is, one of the things I like to do, which is also, seems like it should be typical, but is atypical, is I like to do, sometimes weekly is a little bit too much early, so it might start out as bi-weekly, but it would probably change to weekly, is I like to do a progress report. I stole that idea from some universities we work with that require them, but it's amazing how many consultants don't do it. And you know, we're designing for a long time, so people are like, what the heck's going on? What are they doing these days? And we like to provide a progress report, and we can send that to Matt on a weekly basis, and it has a lot of good information. It has our schedule, what we're working on. It makes you feel good about paying your bills, because it tells you what we're actively working on. So it's a simple thing, but it's something we do, and we especially do on jobs like this, because it keeps you guys up to date on what our progress is. We don't do them as much during construction. We can, and the reason we don't do them as much during construction is because the contractor does them. So we sort of do a handoff. We'd still be there doing the construction administration, but they'll start doing reports. They'll start providing progress. And so you're going to still get it. It's just we don't double them up when we get to that phase. So that's what I have. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Marcus?
Or try to answer them.
I think, well, I got a couple things.
Sure.
First one's for Matt. I think we've talked about this, but the building programming, that kind of stuff, I think it should be a requirement that we have council liaisons associated with that. I'd hate to see something get to us and then us say absolutely not and kick it back. The timeline's already out to 2028. I would like to see that get pulled in if possible. I want to do it right, but that's an out there timeline.
Sure.
In my opinion. I mean, if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. But my biggest concern is making sure that we have council liaisons in this process. I would hate to see us do all this work and then us say absolutely not, something was included, and kick the entire project back.
Yep.
And then I forgot my other one. If I remember it, I'll speak up.
Well, the rest of it.
So in your proposed page 20, well, it's on page 61, but your page 23, the fee adjustment, so you're basing it on a $28.35 million project.
Mm-hmm.
What's your percent of inflation in there if your build date's 2 years out? You think 28's an, I mean, what do you have set in a cushion that you feel that you're going to be okay at 28 mil 2 years from now on a start day?
I think that there's not, I wouldn't say there's an inflationary add to it, but from the experience we have with setting a square footage to a building, it's very difficult, as anybody will tell you. I set the square footage number to a number that I feel is safe with a level of finish that I feel like you guys are probably likely to have, which is going to be a mid-range finish. I doubt a public entity is going to want to go super low range, not on something like fire and on public safety, but you're also not going to want the public coming in and going, well, look at this extravagant thing, right? So I tried to set it in the middle. I feel like that number is safe for inflation. I'm not worried about it with that number. That's a workable value. I don't ever want to, this is really early and you don't want to ever hang yourself, right? But I feel good about where that number is and what it would let us work within, right? I'm not afraid to tell you guys things that other people might. We'll work within it, and so I feel comfortable with it. Is the best answer I can give with that. But as far as like the specific inflationary number and something, that's not accounted for in there. But we do this all the time where we realize the time frame is out a bit, and so.
And then I guess for Matt, I've had some pushback with residents seeing this now that it's public, and if tonight goes through, we're 1.9 plus the 400 for the land purchase. I explained the land purchase is money used from the sale of the lot. Their concern is the school and us competing at the same time. I just want to let you know it's out there. People are talking.
My response, so first off, to address a couple of things. The $28 million number that I'm sure there was audible gasp people watching at home that maybe hadn't seen that, or even in the audience, that is based off of the feasibility study square footage identified and a per square foot cost of construction that is anticipated in this market for this type of building. As we go through the design process, I'm confident that that square footage number is going to come down to what I can't tell you, but that's why you go through the design process. Secondly, in terms of competing with the school district and those kind of concerns, there's reality to that conversation. But as this group has talked about, we could all lament that this building could have been built in 1998 or 2000 or 2002 at pennies on the dollar for what it's going to be for us to build it now. It'll never get cheaper than us building this building now. And if the council is committed to a public safety building to house police and fire for the next 50 years, this is the right decision for the next 50 years.
Aldermeyer.
I'm also going to go on the record and say that I don't feel it's any type of competition. The school district is its own entity. The city of Columbus is its entity. We don't just stop taking care of our buildings because the school district passed a referendum. And as Matt said, we've kicked the can long enough that now we're paying $3 to every penny that we would have 15 years ago. So I think it's a no-brainer to pass this tonight, enter into the agreement, and move forward. I mean, at some point, we either need to make a decision. We're going to have nice buildings and give the city staff that work here a nice place to work, or we're going to keep making excuses for our embarrassing facilities within the city.
Alder Lawson.
So it looks like there's language in here where you're paying for services rendered as we go on, right? So if for some reason the council turns over in the next election and the new council wouldn't want to continue, I saw there is a option to cancel with 14 days notice. I didn't see any other financial terms, so is it just great, you're done, you walk away with whatever we've already been
We get that question a lot, and it's actually a really simple answer. I'll be honest, the 14 days obviously isn't even really a thing we're going to worry about. If someone wants, this does happen, projects get the plug pulled on them, a developer decides they just want to stop, we just stop. I mean, we just stop. We would have, it's always we call them progress payments. It's always tailing behind 30 days, right? So I just did my invoicing last night, right? And it went through whatever, September 4th, right? For August, beginning of August to the beginning of September. There would be that. There would be one lead lag of 1 month, and that's pretty much going to be it. And then it just would stop. So it's not any more complicated than that. I've honestly never, we always have that in there, but I've honestly never been like, oh, well, in 14 days, or something like that. So, yeah. So it's a good question, though. We do get that question a fair bit, so.
Okay, is there any other further discussion on this from anybody? All right, well, thank you for the presentation.
Thanks, guys.
Matt?
Yeah, I'd just be remiss not to share that I think the council's aware that I talk with the school district superintendent on a very regular basis. He's aware of where we're at, what the price tag potentially looks like, and where we're at in the process. And, subsequently, I kind of know where they're at in their process too, and what their planning is. And we share those conversations, and it's not that we're working in silos.
Well, in conversations, I feel that everybody has that very practical attitude about this building, that this, we're not looking at Taj Mahal, we're looking at a very practical building that will fit the needs for the coming future. So, well, with that, I would look for a motion to enter into an agreement with Rupert Melke regarding the public safety.
I move to approve the agreement between the City of Columbus and Rupert Melke regarding the public safety facility
Second.
proposal.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Finkler. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Lawson.
Aye.
Finkler. Aye. Meyer.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is to consider and take action on the agreement for emergency ambulance service between Columbus Area Medical Services Group and LifeStar Emergency Medical Services. Matt, if you would.
Yeah, I included both a red line and a clean version of the agreement. As I think everyone's aware, but it's always good to kind of highlight, we are one part of a 9 jurisdiction area emergency medical services coalition, I'll call it, that oversees this contract. So we're just one part of 9. I've got the budget that is created. As you can see, there is a substantial increase. This is a 5-year contract, essentially an extension of the current agreement that has been in place. This will be the third reiteration. It's a 10-year, at this point, history with LifeStar. Our portion is based off of the population of the community. So we are 44.55% of that population group that's represented here. The city's portion of this in 2025 was a little over $97,000. And the proposed 2026 amount is $130,000. There's an increase. There's been a substantial increase over the past 5 years in everything. What this agreement does is it's essentially a 3-year agreement with a built-in increase each of the first. So there's a built-in increase for 27. There's a built-in increase for 28. During 2028, we will renegotiate what the last 2 years increase will be with LifeStar. That's built in to this agreement. The other substantial change is that it eliminates a $50,000 surety that the city has held, and that would be returned to LifeStar after the first of the year. They'd like to put that money into investment in their fleet of ambulances. So.
I attended, as well as Matt did, the last meeting, which was held over at the 161 building. And it was pretty much overall consensus to continue on with LifeStar and approve this. So,
I mean, I think it's going to pass tonight, but I'm extremely hesitant to enter a contract with any company that doesn't support what's in their already existing contract. Since I've been on the city council, this is the first report that I've seen from them with their calls, mutual aids, things of that nature. I didn't have a chance. I did attend part of that meeting last week. I think this is something that we need to hold their feet to the fire. It's part of the contract, and I mean, if we violate the contract, they're gonna go haywire. So my ask is that we hold LifeStar accountable to the reporting.
Marcus, if I can reply on that. I did just get these reports this last week for the past 3 months. They were being sent to an incorrect email. Okay. And she finally figured out that I wasn't getting them, and so that's why you have 3 in this packet.
Totally understandable, but I mean, this is prior to even you working in the city that this has been an issue. So, and I think we should still look at potentially doing a sidebar with Lifestar and maintaining a full-time service ambulance to the city of Columbus at an additional cost, to ensure that if one's on a non-emergent transport and one's on a call, that we still have services to the citizens of Columbus.
Alder Rasted?
Yeah, so I was reading through the contract, and everything I can see in it has to come by request of the CAEMS group. The council cannot request additional stuff in the report. Like I want to see the interfacility transfers that are taking place out of this Columbus garage with our paramedic unit or our second out unit. I think that's a crucial thing to keep an eye on. I know their mutual aid numbers are down, that they don't receive much, and that's good. I question how often we're going to lose our unit as well. I don't know what Marshall's contract reads. I know they just entered a contract with Lifestar, and they're only 15 miles down the road. So I fear we're going to lose our service. Marshall is busier, that area, Dane County. So as long as we don't take a hit, I'm okay with it. But I'd like to see somewhere in here that the council has authority to ask for stuff in the reports, other than going back to the EMS group. if
Well, Columbus is a
possible.
representative, so we can make a request to the board at any point, so.
And I want to caution everybody, I think everyone understands this, that we're part of a larger group. And so sometimes when we're not providing our own standalone service, we have to kind of coalesce around working with others that may see things the same way or may see things differently than we do. And it's one of our challenges, right? It is, as we move forward, I think our focus is going to be how we can collaborate more with our neighbors, and try and provide, the same services, but trying to share in those costs where we can. Because I think this is a great example of, as I've often told you, with the amount that we pay for this service in 2025, we could not hire a single paramedic and provide them benefits, let alone the ambulance. I think they're running about, $500,000 these days. So this is it's a great value to our taxpayers. Are there going to be challenges? Are there things that are going to need to come up that, like Joe said, I think we can easily request that data through the CAEMS group, because I'm sure that's information that other communities would be interested in as well.
And then at the year 4 and year 5, I'm not saying that we should start our own EMS, but if we're building a building and we're taking money out, I think there's no better time than to explore that option. Is there a termination at year 4 and 5 that we can add in, or we still have to fulfill? I mean, year 4 and 5, we're at 130 this year. I think it's probably a safe bet to say we're going to be 180, 200 by that time. If that's something we can stick towards our new building or start our own service to generate revenue for the city, is there a way for us to get out instead of spending that money for service that possibly at that time we could supply to our residents?
I'm not going to pretend to answer that legal question, but it's something that I can pause to Paul and ask his interpretation based on how the current contract's written or any additional language that may need to be added.
And then there's no urgency to pass it tonight, correct? Nothing. We're not holding anything back because we go through the 31st of December this year.
I'll argue that this has already been approved by the CAEMS group. because there was a quorum, there was a vote taken, and it was approved. It is one of my questions as to who essentially approves this and what is the city's role in the agreement.
Thank you.
Alder Lawson.
So do we know why the incentives and penalties were removed related to the SLA?
That it was discussion at the meeting, and I'm trying to recall that essentially in the 10-year track record, it's not been a issue or concern on either side. It hasn't been enacted that those triggers haven't been met, and so that was one of the reasons why it was removed.
That's not a good reason to remove it. I mean, obviously it's working by being there, so.
Well, it was an overall consensus of the representatives there to.
Yeah, I mean, I
To
advise
remove it.
states all the time, not doing things exactly like that. The problem, especially with contracts like this, is it's essential services, right? So the threat of canceling a contract is not a real threat because you can't just walk away, right? And that's the only other course you can take with the way this is written and not, but, yeah.
Alder Meyer, I think you were.
I'm going to agree 100% with Alder Lawson. With the removal of that, I mean, we are by far the biggest service area within this contract, right? At the end of the day, there needs to be, I think we need to go back and see if we can add them back. We need to do what's best in the overall interest of the citizens of this community. I'm not worried about what the chairman of Elba had to say in that meeting. I'm worried about the people that live within the city limits. And that's also part of the reason why I asked to see, and I know it doesn't need to be right now, but an additional cost for an additional ambulance due to some of the mutual aids that they've been on, where I have received feedback since I've been on council about the time lapse that it took Sun Prairie to get to somebody's house. Okay. It's there. And it's a required service, right? We can't just drop EMS service to the city without having something lined up to back it up. So I'm in a full agreement with Alder Lawson on that.
I'm going to pose a question to the people that would have been on council the last time. Do you recall going through and approving this 5 years ago?
Yeah, I can't remember.
No?
I know, no, I mean, it's like, I know that we did, but I have very fuzzy memory of it, so
Okay, all right.
I'm unable to help.
Everyone has a fuzzy memory of 2020, Trina.
Okay, he was next? Okay, Alder Rosted.
And then I would just also, I'm in agreement with Marcus or Alder Meyer and Lawson. And to Marcus's point, like, with not having two here, I mean, that has also driven our fire numbers up, has it not, Scott? The EMS, I mean, the EMS assist, if you look at your reports that Scott submits, the number that we're assisting, which I don't understand how it's not a mutual aid to Lifestar, because we're not affiliated with them, other than they are housed in our city. That has driven the fire numbers through the roof the last 2 years. So it's costing us more money elsewhere, and not just us. I mean, the townships as well. They're paying fire to go when they're paying for a service that should have two ambulances here, and they should both be there. I mean, I get it. Their emergencies do happen, right? But we're paying twice. We're paying fire to go and EMS to go when we're paying for a contract, and all we're asking is that it's followed. I think that's the most consensus I have.
Alder Finkler.
I agree with everything everybody's already said. I'm really concerned, though, that this has already been approved and what impact any of this conversation has on the agreement.
As you look at this budget, this is a really good deal for some of the smaller communities, right? And this is the challenge with I'm trying to be careful with my words. If you had an EMS district, there's some hard and fast rules, right? But we don't. We have an agreement. And so there is an argument against districts and there's an argument for districts. One of the benefits of the districts is things are pretty cut and dry in terms of how things operate. When you're in this situation, it's a lot looser. And so essentially, the question becomes, there's 9 communities, and if 5 of them say, yep, this is great, no matter what the other 4 say, if it's all set up equal, and these are the questions that need to go back to Attorney Johnson, right? And what I will do is bring all of the issues and concerns raised tonight back to the CA EMS group and see if there is opportunity for discussion on any of those issues.
Alder Lawson. Or, Raskin.
So basically what I'm hearing is if we vote no, we are 1-8 if it was a complete majority. So if that's the case, I'll make a motion to not accept the agreement proposed by LifeStart EMS in the council packet.
Can we do that? I don't know if we can do that because it's already been approved. That's my point. That's where I'm confused. Like, what are we doing tonight?
Well, what's our agreement with the other communities? Is there's gotta be something in there that says what happens in this case.
So we have a representative that sits on CA EMS, and that representative did not seek council's opinions on this. I guess Matt's like over here like, I guess I'm just trying to figure out.
We should probably let his motion die or get a second.
Sorry, can you restate what your motion was?
I just made a motion not to approve the agreement through LifeStart EMS that was proposed in the packet.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rasta, second by Alder Lawson.
We can roll call this.
Well, further discussion first, so.
Well, are we
I'm-
just
I'm
making
going-
a motion just to make a motion?
Can I advise the council to take my recommendation is to take no action. Let us go back, get answers to some of
Yeah.
these questions, and bring this back at a future meeting.
Thank you. That's kind of what I was
That-
looking at.
Correct. The only discussion I have is that I asked that we carry out a vote now that it has a second, and either we table it or just do nothing. If we just vote no on this, it's going to set a precedence and we could potentially lose our EMS service. So let's go back to the EMS board and let's make sure that we get the answers to the things that we can get answers to. I don't really have the faith that we're going to get answers to everything that we're going to take to them. But we can't just leave the city without EMS.
Can I
So are
make
we
an
gonna
amendment?
Well,
It's already got a second.
yeah, it's already got a second. We
have to vote on it,
Hold
but
on,
you can
hold
make an
on.
amendment.
Ryan, would you be willing to withdraw your motion, considering what was stated by Alder Meyer?
Yeah, I'll withdraw.
Is that allowed? I don't know. I don't think we've ever done that before.
I think he can, it's his motion, so I think he
Okay.
can withdraw. Are you willing to withdraw your second?
Yep.
I'm going to I'm going to make a motion to table the CA EMS agreement until we have answers, or postpone any further discussion or action regarding the CA EMS agreement presented in the packet, pending answers from Attorney Johnson and the EMS board.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Reed. Any further discussion now? And it was requested for a roll call. Well, it doesn't matter at this point. This one probably not. So, all right, well then, we'll just go with all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. All right, where are we? Claims. Thank you. Okay, consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $416,635.
Move to pay the claims in the amount of $416,635.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rolke. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Finkler.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Report?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Just going to make a mention, and has gone out on our city website and Facebook, I believe. If you may have noticed, no parking signs along North and South Ludington and Park Avenue. Reason for those is that tomorrow and Thursday, they will be doing some sewer work, which is sewer lining. So they're going from manhole to manhole, lining the sewer pipes. They work in the middle of the street, and so the no parking is so that traffic can continue on through without any hiccups. So that is what that's all about. I also would like to send a big thank you and a recognition of Mark Pifferone, a resident of our city that has hit every single city street picking up trash throughout the summer. A wonderful example, and I can't say enough. I think it's a great thing, and maybe as more residents that we can support Mark when it comes to doing this and really get this community cleaned up. So, not that we're a messy community, but I mean, it's a wonderful thing that he does, and it's his, I believe, second or third year that he's done this. So, and yeah, every street in the city. So, with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rolke. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, does anybody need a break before the workshop?
I actually want to I just want to clarify something on the withdrawal. So in doing research on that, you are allowed to withdraw if the chair has not